right? But that's not the only perspective there is of us, right? There's another perspective, and that's the perspective of those around us. How do others perceive us, right? Because sometimes they're born leaders, sometimes they feel like everybody can see their leadership skills. It's pretty obvious to them, so it should be obvious to everyone else. But that's not always the case, right? And we want to think about how we're perceived regarding others. Now, how many of you guys saw the Mike Tyson documentary? How many of you were surprised at a leadership conference? I'm talking about Mike Tyson documentary. So in the Mike Tyson, Tyson documentary, one of the things was I found to be interesting is Mike Tyson talked about, if you watch the video or you're just familiar with Mike Tyson, quite frankly, you know that he's used to giving these tirades, saying all kinds of foolishness to people, right? And they were asking him about that. Why was he always so belligerent, I guess would be the appropriate term, towards other people? And his response was, I found to be interesting because, I mean, Mike looks like the type of dude you just don't want to run into anywhere. I mean, not even in a supermarket. You're like, no, I'm going to go down the other aisle, you know? But Mike said, one of the things he said is that, he said, that's not really who I am. He said, who I am, I was afraid to let people see. I was afraid of that image. I was afraid that they would take advantage. I was afraid that they would find out exactly who I am. He said, so I put up this facade. Because I figured if they got scared of me, they would never get close enough to know who it is I am. Now, I point out that to say that in as much as Mike fabricated essentially a facade, an image of himself, right? That's the image, not his image in the mirror. I mean, he knew who he was to some degree, right? But the image that he was portraying to other people was this image of this really rough person. But what I'm saying to you and how this is going to connect to you guys is when I talk about the image of the different types of leaders, right? You want to shape yourself in such a way that the image that you're portraying is the image of the leader that you want to be. You want to make sure that you're portraying that image to others. Now, how do you do that? Now, one of the things you may hear, I've heard people say, if you want people to be able to say certain things about you, let's say when your life is expired, you want people to get up and be able to say good things, you kind of have to do, I mean, some people are going to say good things even if you're the meanest person on earth, like, oh yeah, they were a great father, I ain't seen them in 30 years. You know, and that's, you know, and you'll have some of that. But the fact of the matter is, if you want people to say good things about you, you kind of need to do good things, right? I mean, it's kind of simple. So you want to shape the image that people have of you, or that perspective of you, and you get an opportunity to do that. You can shape your life in such a way and embrace the leadership roles, whether it's the different styles that you talked about, or what have you, or developing yourself in other ways. We talk about sharpening the saw and things of that nature that you can do to make yourself better and stronger even in areas of leadership or what have you, so that the image that others are seeing becomes the image that you want them to see. Not because it's a facade, but you've actually shaped yourself in such a way that that is, in fact, now who you are. So I want you guys to think about that that's what you want to do. You want to shape yourself into the person that you want others to be able to look up to or have the perspective that you want them to have. So if you want them to say, oh, you know, this is a great friend, you want to be a great friend, you want to do those types of things. There's actually a bit of a joke, it's kind of silly, but I'll share it with you. But there was three guys, and the three guys were asked the same question. What do you want people to say about you when you're done? What do you want people to say at the funeral? And the first guy said, wow, you know, I want them to say I was a great husband. You know, he was just such a great husband to his wife. He said, oh, that's good. They asked the second guy, and said, what do you want people to say? He said, wow, I want people to say I was a great father. So they get to the third person. So what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? See, I want them to say, look, he's moving. I didn't write the material. I didn't write it, but I was So anyway, so we have the different perspectives. So we're back to the man in the mirror, right? We have this image that we have of ourselves, right? When we look in the mirror, we see ourselves a certain way. And we talked about how others will perceive us. But with Mike Tyson, the points to the same issue, is who is the real person? Who is it we see when we look at ourselves in the mirror? So if you grab your mirrors again for a second, I promise not to keep doing this. But let you guys look in the mirror one more time. This time I want you to keep looking. Really? Somebody doing their hair. I don't want to see any makeup whipping out now. It's not time for that. But now while you're looking in the mirror, I want you to say, I am looking at the only person who can determine the success I have. Thank you. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, because that is literally the truth. You guys are the only ones that get to determine that. The circumstances around us don't determine that. It's not how we were born, it's not where we were born, it's none of those things. A lot of times we find plenty of other things to blame, if you will, or to point to say this is why I'm here or not where I want to be. But the fact of the matter is, we're the only ones that get to determine exactly where we want to be. In fact, there's a quote that says, "You are." It's in The Stranger's Secret. It's a recording by Earl Nightingale. But anyway, the quote says, "You are exactly where you want to be, whether you want to believe that or not, because it's your own life choices that get us." Now, stuff can happen to us. I'm not discounting it. Life happens, right? Life happens to us. They weren't really trying to discount that fact, but the fact of the matter is, very often we are exactly where we are because of the decisions we made. Now, this is not about condemning ourselves for any bad decisions we made. It's just the fact that the matter is, we made decisions to get where we are, and we can make decisions to turn. Just like some of us, we made the decision at some point to say, "Oh my God, I'm whatever age, let me go get my degree." For whatever reason, we decided to get the degree. So we're doing that, and you guys are doing that, and congratulations on doing that, because that is big. That is big to be doing it. But one of the things that we talk about, again, in Impact, is we talk about the fact that a lot of times entrepreneurs come to us and they talk about different circumstances that are affecting why they are where they are, why they can't do business. And another example just came to me, but one of the people that was with us in Impact, they had a cleaning business, and they talked about how difficult it was to get more clients. They're like, people don't really want to, because the economy. You hear people talk about the economy all the time. Well, the economy is affecting, how people are spending money and things of this nature, et cetera, et cetera. But what was interesting is, while this person is complaining about the economy affecting their cleaning business, I have another friend who starts a cleaning business and gets 21 contracts in 9 months. So they're both in the same economy. They're both dealing with the same economy. They're both dealing with the same industry. But one said, the economy is stopping me from getting to where I want to be. The other one says, the economy doesn't have a choice but to comply with what I'm trying to do. Because the fact of the matter is, right? The fact of the matter is, no matter how bad the economy is, you better put some food on your table, right? You need to get that done. I don't mean by any means necessary, but I mean by any legal means necessary, you're going to go get that done, right? That's what has to happen. We don't get to feed our kids excuses. Oh, little Johnny, you're hungry? Here's the economy. No, it doesn't work that way. And what I want to point out to you guys is don't settle for letting an excuse drive you to a level of success. Because if you do it and you're leaders, what are you going to teach the people that are following you? They're going to follow your lead. Oh man, I go to school, but the economy. I get a new car, but the economy. I buy a house, but the economy. I invest in stocks, but the economy. Matter of fact, I love that story, and I'll sidebar a bit with this. The fact of the matter is, remember when the economy, the stock market tanked? 2008. Went down to about 7,000 or so points. I won't get too much into what the points mean, but it dropped a lot in value. And a lot of people were scared, and they were selling all the stuff and things of this nature. You guys remember AIG? I'm talking about AIG, and AIG looked like they were going under and all this kind of stuff. What was interesting is, at one point, now they never closed it, so if you go back through the history of the company, you're not going to see, when I say close, I'm sorry, at the end of a trading day, whatever the price is, that's the closing price. Essentially, there's some technical stuff to that, but essentially that's what I'm talking about. Never closed at this number that I'm telling you. But during that day, I remember very specifically watching the stock market reports, and AIG had hit $1 a share. Now, I don't know what's this about leadership, but I'm heading somewhere with the back to the economy. And this is in the middle of a recession, right? They go down to $1 a share. Now, if you own the AIG when you spend $800 a share for it, $1 a share is a problem. But what was interesting is, in the middle of this bad economy, when they were selling for $1 a share, people weren't buying. People were scared of it. Even though the federal government had already basically said we're going to bail them out, people were scared to buy it. However, if you were able to come up with, if you said, I'm going to go in at this time, and I'm sure people did, if you put $10,000 into AIG, a year and a half later, you would have had $540,000 from $10,000. It's not the economy, it's our perspective on the economy. At the same time when everybody was getting on the stock market, Warren Buffett went in. He went in $150 million into the market because he understands it's about cycles. It's not about the current circumstance. There's another quote that says, those that get along, that get on in this world, are those that look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So make them. And as leaders, you have to make the circumstance. You can't let circumstances dictate what it is you're going to do with your, whether it's your business, in your career, what you do in the lives of your kids, as leaders in your communities, in your churches, and other organizations. You don't have the luxury. I'm sorry, you guys are leaders. You don't have the luxury to sit back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Well, this is stopping me." You better find a way around it. That's what I'm saying. You have to make a determination that it's not about what's in front of you. It's about you. It's about your own perspective. We talked about, I keep mentioning impact, but it's because impact is such a part of me. But with impact, one of the things we talk about is something called RIO, like Rio. We talk about Rio because it ties into this element of basically being real with who you are. Now, RIO stands for, the R is resourcefulness, the I is integrity, and the O is opportunity. Now, with the R, it's things like that, what I talked about with the economy. We tend to, when we get to the end of ourselves, we usually stop. You know what I mean? For example, if you guys said that you wanted to, I don't know, name a dream car that you guys would want if you could afford it. What? Bentley? There you go. Bentley. That's what I came up with. Okay. Actually, we have a neighbor who has a Bentley. He's got a crazy story how he picked a Bentley up. But anyway, but let's say you wanted to, do you own a Bentley? Yeah. You do? Oh, wow. That's great. Okay. So, but what happens a lot of times is people will get to the point, they'll say, hey, here's this thing I want. Say a Bentley, in this case. But what do most of us say? Most of us in this room probably would have the same, if we wanted a Bentley, we probably have the same response to why we don't have one. What would that be?
Can't afford it.
So, well, that's totally different. But for the ones that would say, the ones that would say that they can't afford it, what I want you to realize is when you get to the point that you say, I can't afford it, I can't do it, I don't have this, I don't have that, that's a lack of resourcefulness. It has nothing to do, it's not the money that stops you from being able to get a Bentley. I mean, it stops you from walking in the store and getting one. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't stop you from getting to that point. What stops you from getting to the point of being able to afford one is going to be the fact that you said, I can't afford it, and you shut it off. Because you tell your subconscious that, I don't need to think about that anymore, because I can't afford it.